Acknowledge me, the one.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Kick It to Scoops. I'm your host, Scoops, the sole admin of Scoops. And oh boy, the rigged AFL Brownlow Medal was last night. How many times do I have to tell you all? The AFL's version of the Brownlow Medal is rigged. It is rigged upon rigged. The Scoops medal is where it's at. It ain't just a gimmick. It ain't just a catchphrase. It isn't just for clicks and views like some people do. I mean it when I tell you all that the Scoops medal is the only medal that isn't rigged. I don't play favourites. If I played favourites, St Kilda players would win it every year. I've had 5 instalments of the Scoops medal and only 1 Saints player has won it. Technically 2, but Jack McRae won it as a Western Bulldogs player. Supposedly one of my most hated sides, yet the inaugural winner was Jack McRae, a Bulldogs player. So, there you have it. Now, on the show this evening, oh baby, when I tell you all that Scoops Goes Bang is going to be a big explosive episode or segment, Scoops Goes Bang is going to be the biggest rant of the year. We've got 1 more week of Kick It to Scoops this episode and next week, recapping the grand final and all that. But this week is going to be the best ever Scoops Goes Bang of all time. Now, I'll say maybe one of the best, but I'll say the best. Now, if you remember when Paddy Ryder got wrongfully suspended and Jack Higgins got wrongfully suspended years back, I went so mad I was. I was so mad. You thought that was good. You thought my rant on the rigged All-Australian team from previous years was good. Well, they all were amazing. But this is going to be the one that you're going to remember for the rest of your life. So on the show today, I was going to talk about the rigged Brownlow medal, and I've got all the stats to back it up. I don't even remember if I had anything else I wanted to rant on about, but it'll be about the Brownlow and how bullshit it is. I'm going to talk about the grand final this week between Geelong and Brisbane at the MCG. Come on, Brisbane. And then we're going to recap the prelim finals, some team news who may play the grand final and all that, and a trade update as well. We'll start off with this. You want me on Cameo? Head to cameo.com/CooperG. You want me to roast a friend, wish me a birthday, anything at all? Cameo.com/CooperG. And if you know any AFL, AFW players, any up-and-coming draftees, or any state league players, and want to see them on the channel in a Gold King Challenge and or interview, please do send me a message, and we'll try and get something sorted. Now, just because Kick It to Scoops will finish up next week does not mean the content stops. It never stops. Scoops all things footy 24/7. AFLW is still going around. I'll be doing that weekly podcast still, the Scoops AFLW show. I'll have interviews and Gold King challenges still happening throughout the rest of the season and the rest of the year, in fact. And also, of course, the trade updates, draft update, the trade and draft update for the men's and women competitions. So look forward to that. The draft power rankings videos will come out over due time. So you'll have all that and more to look forward to. So now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome, for the second last time this year, on this podcast at least, the world famous segment, Scoops Goes Bang! First of all, congratulations to Matt Rowell on winning the 2025 Brownlow Medal. But we're not here to congratulate players. We're here to talk about robberies right in front of me. Now, for years, I have said that the Brownlow Medal is rigged. I say that the All-Australian team is rigged. And all the other awards in between are generally rigged as well. Like Mark and Goal of the Year last night were also rigged. I don't even care to remember who won it because I know they didn't deserve it. Ben King was clearly Mark of the Year. You can't tell me that Sam Darcy deserved that. That's bullshit. And Goal of the Year, I can't even remember. But I think it was Noah Anderson, and there was far better. Nasiah says hello. The greatest comeback in three-quarter time history in AFL, VFL history. That is the Goal of the Year. Just like I rewarded NAS for that award. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the rigged Brownlow medal. This has nothing to do with Matt Rowell in terms of like whether he deserved to win or not. He did get some votes that were bullshit in his favour, but that's not what I'm here to argue about him winning. It's some glaringly obvious games that were completely and utterly shit. Now, I'm going to start with the big one because I know that's all you are all waiting for. So, the Messiah, kicked 4 goals and 34 touches against Melbourne in the greatest comeback in my lifetime and probably most of your lifetimes as well. The greatest comeback of all time. 46 points down at three-quarter time. The Messiah, kicked 14 or had 14 disposals and 2 goals, a bunch of scoring involvements and clearances in the last one. I think it was 6 each. But put that aside, he finished on 4 goals and 34 disposals and a bunch of clearances and score involvements and goal assists. You thought, wow, he's getting 3 votes, surely. Obviously, it's the most obvious one all night. But no, they stuffed it up. So, Petrarca got 1 vote. I'm not even going to debate that. Then we hear 2 votes, St Kilda. I thought, maybe Sinclair, maybe Marshall. Nah. It was NAS for 2 votes. And then I thought, that's cooked. The votes before they were already cooked. But this was the most stuffed up individual vote of the whole entire evening. And there was a lot of bad ones, which we're going to get to shortly. But how can you try justifying a 4-goal, 34 disposal game, the 2 match-winning goals to tie the game and win the game in the greatest comeback in three-quarter time history, and you want to stuff us over? Gee, the AFL are never beating the fact that they hate St Kilda. They have it for St Kilda. They clearly do. There's other games that I'll get to in a second. But you cannot justify Jack Viney getting 3 votes. I mean, look at the reactions of Windy and Steele and even Naz, who doesn't talk himself up, but was clearly obviously pissed off in that moment, and rightfully so. Steele and Windy and co just thought, nah, this is cooked. And you saw the reaction of Max Gawn and Christian Petrarca, and they know how fucked up that was. That was completely embarrassing. The worst call of the night, and there was about 30 plus stuffed up calls that night. So Jack Viney had 26 disposals, a goal, and like 12 tackles. No one is saying that Jack Viney was shit. But how I've even had some dumbasses try to justify Jack Viney getting 3 votes, and they are the definition of dumb. If you think Jack Viney deserved 3 votes over Nasiah Wanganeen-Malira, you don't know football, you have 0 ball knowledge, and you don't have brain cells. If you seriously think that Naz wasn't the best in that game, you got rocks in your head. Now, we've seen Melbourne take the piss out of it. Look, I'm not having to go at Melbourne. This has nothing to do with Melbourne. I mean, they did it for social media engagement. And to be honest, it wasn't that bad. But the AFL, to show how rigged the Brownlow is. And this just shows how the umpires have 0 ball knowledge. The umpires don't know how to do their job in 2 ways now. They've always not known how to umpire. They also don't know how to do votes. They are so dumb, or they're so biased, or they're rigging games. Or they're doing all of that. They rig games, they play favourites, and they got favourite teams. So, here's the thing. Naz easily deserved 3 votes there, and that's not the only game he got screwed over in. Now, in the last 6 rounds, besides round 24 against the Giants, the previous 5 games, Naz was projected to get 3 votes in all 5 other games prior to the last round. Now, when you're projected to get 15 out of 15, you thought, okay, you can maybe, accept 1 vote or 2 votes different, considering there was some that were 50-50. But nah. He got 9 votes out of a possible of 15 in those 5 games at the end of the season. Get stuffed. This ain't like 1 off. This is 6 votes off. Yet other players can get gifted votes for having 14 bloody disposals. And we're going to get to that in just a second. So NAS was robbed of 6 votes. So therefore, if you give him the 6 votes he should have got, he's equal third in the Brownlow with Bailey Smith, who shouldn't even have been third either. But we'll get to that in a second. So technically, Matt Rowell won. Or did he? Because he also got gifted votes. And now I'm going to tell you about him. Matt Rowell got 39 votes and won. No one's got a problem with him winning. Well, maybe some do, but I don't have a problem with him winning. It's how he won on 39 votes. Gee, the AFL just love breaking records, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, you got to sink that in. They want players to break records that people that were playing 50 years ago may have now. They want new records. They just want records broken because that's all they care about, their pockets and records being broken. So Matt Rowell, now thank you to someone on Facebook who sent me this. Rowell was given 3 votes in games where he had 16 disposals, 17 disposals, 20 disposals, and a game that the Suns lost by 60 points. Now, look, granted, the game where they lost by 60, it doesn't matter to me if the team loses, but that's the best 3 individuals on the ground, so I'll ignore that one. But how you can get 3 votes for a 16, 17, and 20 disposal game, or any votes for that matter, is completely bullshit. So that means he got handed 9 votes, which would put him back on 30, which would mean he wouldn't won. Now, Dago's probably got gifted votes as well that he shouldn't have got, and Bailey Smith's absolutely got handed votes he shouldn't have had. So technically, the Messiah, could have won. But, look, what I'm saying is Matt Rowell got 9 votes that he shouldn't have got. Like, glaringly obvious ones, okay? Now, back to St Kilda. Jack Sinclair had a 38 disposal game against the Eagles. Rowan Marshall had 27 disposals and 40 hitouts and a goal. 0 votes. Yeah, St Kilda lost to West Coast. Doesn't matter. It was a close game still nonetheless. It was like 10 points. Sinclair had 38 disposals. Marshall had 27 disposals, a goal, and 40 hitouts. Yet, Harley Reid and potentially a future Saint, Liam Ryan, had 2 goals, or they both had 2 goals each, with 14 and 15 disposals respectively. And they got votes. Make that make sense. Brady Hoff got votes in that game. I don't know if he got 1, 2, or 3. He was fine being in the 3. But Harley Reid and Liam Ryan for getting 2 goals and 14, 15 touches? Bullshit. Sinclair had 38 disposals and kept us in the game. Rowan Marshall outscored his 2 ruck opponents in Bailey Williams and Matt Flynn. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but I can tell you right now with confidence that Bailey Williams and Matt Flynn didn't even combine for 40 hitouts and did not even combine for 27 disposals. If they did, it would be like 1 more. So that is complete and utter disgrace. How Sinclair, who gets 38 disposals, doesn't get a bloody vote. Marshall doesn't even get a bloody vote. And then Harley Reid and Liam Ryan for 2 goals and 14 and 15 touches get votes? Get stuffed. Another further proof that the AFL hate the Saints and they've got it out for the Saints. It's not they're trying to bloody hurt me by doing this. Typical AFL. Absolutely biased organisation, a joke of a league. The AFL men's is. Absolute joke. Now, another one. Got a few more for you all. So, just 2 more, but there was obviously a lot more. Jordan Dawson got votes in multiple games that were completely and utterly bullshit. There were some games where he had like 20 disposals and got votes, or like 3 votes. It's just ridiculous. But this glaringly obvious one just got me pissed off. Jordan Dawson versus Port Adelaide Football Club in round 9, I believe, in the showdown. It was a 5-point win to the Crows or something like that, but the result doesn't matter. I just want to get you a guide on which game I'm talking about of that matchup. He had 14 disposals, Jordan Dawson, at 57% with 4 turnovers and got a vote. Are you kidding me? If you want to bitch and moan about Rows, what about that? That one is more cooked than that. Row won. And in that same game, Ollie Wines had 31 disposals. Zach Butters had 33 disposals. James Peatling had 24 disposals and 12 tackles. Riley Thilthorpe kicked 3 goals and 15 disposals with 8 marks. All those guys did not get a bloody vote. Wines, Butters, or Thilthorpe. And there's a few others that did get votes. So Rosie got 3, which is fair enough. At least 3 or 2. But how Butters, Peatling, Thilthorpe did not get a vote, and Rankin got 2, and Dawson got 1 for doing absolutely nothing. Now, Rankin wasn't even in the top 12 or 14 fantasy points as well, just to show you that his stats were low. And that Thilthorpe was better, Wines and Butters were better, and they didn't get votes. Bullshit. The AFL loved the Crows. They're probably really upset they went out in straight sets. Because I told you all that Port Adelaide, well, they are no good either. But Adelaide just aren't that good. And another glaringly obvious one that pissed me right off. Round 2, Zach Merritt against Adelaide. They had a big loss, but I don't give a shit. Zach Merritt had 4 goals and 36 disposals, got 1 vote. Yet Jordan Dawson got 2 votes for like 28 disposals. And Ben Keys got 3 votes for 3 goals and 23. No one's arguing that Ben Keys gotten the votes. He should have got 2 votes. Not 3. Jordan Dawson shouldn't have been in the votes at all. I don't have the other names in front of me, but there was someone else that was better than Dawson and a fair few others better than Dawson. Of course, got robbed. And Zach Merritt kicked 4 goals and 36 disposals and didn't poll a vote. Bullshit. Oh, yeah. Absolutely embarrassing. Oh, also, mate, you can't be serious with this one as well. Nasiah, the Messiah, 2 goals, 34 disposals, 2 goals and 36 disposals against Geelong late in the season where we just lost. 2 and 36. 0 votes. It's Sean Manor, Jeremy Cameron, and Max Holmes got votes in that game. Holmes had like a goal and 30, not better than NAS. Jeremy Cameron kicked 5 goals with 14 disposals. All Joey the Gooses out the back, and cheap goals from free kicks that weren't there. Didn't deserve any votes. Sean Manor kicked 3 and 24. He was good, but not better than NAS. Completely bullshit. The definition of match fixing. And sooner you all grasp to that, the better. Everyone should be talking to the AFL, messaging them, emailing them, whatever, and saying what a corrupt league they are. How embarrassing is this? I mean, we're talking about Geelong getting things swept under the carpet, all right? The AFL are an embarrassing league at the moment. They are an embarrassing league. You know, like, this is bullshit at the highest order. I am sick of the AFL favouring teams. Geelong, Adelaide, Western Bulldogs, Carlton. The AFL need to pull their head in. It's really embarrassing. It truly is. And they need to lift their game. It's embarrassing. I'm even going through the rest of the Brownlow because it's rigged. But one on to Matt Rowell. To the AFL, pull your head in, lift your game. You're a joke of an organisation. And the 4 umpires that umpired in the Saints Melbourne game when NAS was the hero with that 4-goal, 34 disposal performance, all of them should be sacked, effective immediately. They are Jeff Dalgleish. I'm going to get the names up in front of me just so you all know who the 4 clowns that did not give him votes. So they were Jeff Dalgleish, Nicholas Brown, Martin Roger, and James Strybos. You ain't the boss of nothing. You're a hacks. All 4 of those umpires should be sacked, effective immediately. Like, where do they come to the conclusion that NAS wasn't better? Even if there was one clown that tried saying that NAS wasn't the best, how could you have 2 or 3 say he wasn't the best? That's embarrassing. The umpires should be allowed to look at the stats. And, I mean, you didn't even need to watch the stats, look at the stats. You just had to watch the game and notice how big of a moment the NAS moment was. Gee, the AFL is such clickbait of an organisation that they were pumping up how that's one of the greatest moments ever, which it was, and then not give him 3 votes. That just doesn't even make sense. And then they got the nerve to make clips out of it last night in that NAS moment where they got robbed, knowing that they get the clicks and views and engagement out of it. See, this is the problem. That's all they care about, the clicks and views. I don't do this for clicks and views. I do it because I love it. I do my medal counts because I'm passionate and love doing what I do, and I don't rig it like the AFL do. It's time you all get around the one true medal count that matters, and that's the Scoops medal. The AFL one is rigged. I would highly recommend no one watches next year's AFL rigged Brownlow medal and watch mine, and then maybe they'll realise how bullshit their Brownlow medal truly is. It's a piss take of an award now. And whoever wins it from now on is basically tainted. It is basically tainted. Right. Now, don't I have a surprise for you all? Now, if you all remember, you're all telling me, oh, yeah, where's so-and-so, you know, oh, not on anymore. You don't talk to him anymore. You trolls about to say her name and she appears. Kayla.
Hey guys, it's Kayla back again. I'm just here to give my grand final prediction and how I think it's going to go. I'll actually be there. Go Lions. And like the non-Smith medalist, who I reckon will get it, and just all up how I reckon it's going to go. So I genuinely think that it's going to be a nail-biting game. Now, I honestly think Brisbane will go back-to-back. We lost by a lot a couple of weeks ago against Geelong, but I think they'll bounce back, especially if Lachie Neale comes into the play. And we've obviously got Huey and Dunks and all of them in the midfield, and Will Ashcroft, who's been playing amazing. And so non-Smith, I reckon, will go to Hugh McCluggage, purely for the fact that he has just been playing amazing. And I reckon, it'll be a very, very close game within a goal, I reckon. He'll definitely be keeping on everyone's toes the entire game. But yeah, hopefully the Lions win, and go Lions.
I remember. Thank you to Kayla for those predictions, and it's very funny how people just like embarrassing themselves. Like, have people ever figured out that, you know, I've had to record this podcast on different days now, and, you know, people have lives, and, you know, people's schedules don't always align and everything like that. People have other commitments outside of social media. It's just hilarious how people just try and just embarrass themselves online, think they're cool. But yeah, thanks for that, Kayla. Everyone else that was saying that wasn't coming back, and so it's hilarious. She's back. And yes, scheduling doesn't always align all the time, and always welcome to talk now to this day. So yeah, thank you to Kayla for those predictions. You'll hear my predictions very, very shortly. Now, also, we are going to go through some trade talk very shortly. But in a review the prelim finals. So Geelong 115 to Hawthorn 85. Look, Hawthorn had a chance, but they just were not good after quarter time. They were really good in the first quarter. I thought they were going to beat Geelong, and Geelong were over them in the second half. You know, Dangerfield did have a really good game, but he also did a lot of diving and staging for free kicks, as he always does. One of the most protected players in AFL history, along with Joel Selwood. Go look at who's had the most free kicks ever. It's those two players. So, yeah, look, Geelong get protected. It's as simple as that. Hawthorn, Carl Amon was one of their better players, along with Dylan Moore, who had a goal in 26, who had like 8 score involvements as well. He played really well. Collingwood, obviously Tom Stewart got concussed and won't play in this year's grand final. I mean, Richmond fans do have a long memory, and they know what he did to Dion Pressia and other Richmond players in the past. So, yeah. And Mario Chol got 3 weeks for that tackle on Tom Stewart, which is an absolute disgrace. It was a free kick, and that was it. Completely bullshit. I don't know if they're appealing it, Hawthorn, but they should. But Hawthorn get protected all the time, so, I mean, they finally got one against them, I guess. But the AFL love Geelong the most, so Geelong overrides Hawthorn in their opinion, so that's why Chol got 3 weeks. If it was Geelong doing it to Hawthorn, we wouldn't even be talking about it. Well, the AFL wouldn't be talking about it anyway. Put it that way. Collingwood 71, Brisbane 100. Disappointing for the Lions. For the Pies. Had some chances. Jamie Elliott, was that a mark? Was it not a mark? And that Sarcevic chopping the arms. Yeah, I thought, though, Brisbane were the better side. Collingwood just lost Scott Penderett, started the game. But yeah, it's just really disappointing for the Lions. Sorry, for the Pies. Why do I keep saying the Lions? Really disappointing. You know, it's just very disappointing if you're a Pies fan. That is what it's come to. But it is what it is, and they'll bounce back next year. People writing off the Pies have no idea on football. They'll have the same team. But losing Jamie Elliott and Brody Mychek, though, may not help at all. That might set them back, though, if anything. But they may bring in some names that might help them. Not Jack Bullard, but, some other names that could help them. The Pies will be fine next year. People writing off the Pies don't know football. It's as simple as that. Right, now, so let's preview this year's grand final before we wrap it up with the trade period. So, previewing this year's grand final. Sorry, not review, preview, whoops. So, I think the 2025 AFL Grand Final winner will be the Brisbane Lions. I think with Lachie Neale most likely coming back into the side for potentially Jared Berry, who's injured, it's clear cut. Neale comes in for Berry if he's injured and not playing. If Berry plays and Neale plays, it'll be Bruce Revell who goes out. Sam Marshall will probably go to the sub if Revell's dropped for Neale and Berry still plays. Or it could be simply no change and Bruce Revell will stay as the sub. For Geelong, I see Reece Stanley coming in for Tom Stewart. Reece Stanley will play in the ruck. Blix Arthur will do what he normally does. If Jack Henry doesn't play, maybe Jed Hughes could play. But they're the changes that will most likely happen. So I'm going the Brisbane Lions to win the grand final, hopefully, and win by 5 points. My first goal kicker will be Logan Morris. And my Norm Smith medalist, the man who polled 21 votes in the Scoops medal and last year's Norm Smith medal winner, Will Ashcroft. So that is my grand final predictions. Brisbane by 5 points. Will Ashcroft for Norm Smith and best on ground, and Logan Morris for the first goal. But there you go. If I want to say a smoky for Norm Smith, Ty Gallup. That's a smoky. There'd be a long shot, but didn't want to say McCluggage and make it obvious and everything like that. So went outside the box there. So there you go. So a trade update. Now, Brody Mychek and Jamie Elliott both have 2 years on the table. Both are not happy with the money. One of them is probably going to have to go for the other to get more money. And even then, they may not be satisfied still. Now, if Brody Mychek was to go, it would be to Melbourne or North Melbourne, most likely Melbourne. If Jamie Elliott goes, it will be to the Gold Coast Suns. And to be honest, that's the one that looks most likely to happen. But they can replace Brody Mychek. They can't replace Jamie Elliott, a guy who kicked the most goals for a small forward this year, along with Jack Higgins. They just can't afford to lose Jamie Elliott. He's 33. He might be getting a 3-year deal at the Suns, maybe 2 with a trigger of a third if he meets certain games criteria and all that, or performance-based contract. They can't afford to lose Jamie Elliott. He's the one that would hurt them the most. Mychek is replaceable. Still a big out, but replaceable. He hasn't been in great form this year. Jamie Elliott's in All-Australian form. He was robbed of All-Australian. We all know that. Another further proof that the AFL is rigged and corrupt, basically. Joke of an organisation they are, the AFL men's side. But yeah, look, if I had to pick now, I think Jamie Elliott's the one that goes to Gold Coast and Brody Mychek stays. But if they both go, then Brody Mychek will most likely be at Melbourne and Jamie Elliott will go to the Gold Coast Suns. They may bring in Jack Bullard, a tall from the Swans, yet to be proven, bargain-based pickup. They could do that. Now, Wade Dirkson's most likely to go to Melbourne. Buku Khamis has yesterday requested a trade to Carlton. He's contracted at the Bulldogs, but I'll let him go. Probably pick in the 3rd round, late 2nd at best, but most likely 3rd round. Jamal Ugle-Hagen's requested a trade. He shouldn't be playing AFL at all next year, and I'll feel bad for the Bulldogs to some degree if they have to keep him next year because he might not play at all, and they're wasting their salary cap by giving him $800,000 or whatever the hell he's on. Sam Flanders will meet with St Kilda, Melbourne, Carlton and Essendon. this week. So if anyone sees reports that he's touring, say, a facility in one of those clubs, don't think, oh, yep, he's coming to my club because of that reason. Look, St Kilda are the favourites according to Sam Edmund as of today. I don't even think, to be honest, Carlton and Essendon are a shot at all, especially Essendon. Carlton are a long shot. Carlton are a long shot. I'd say Essendon are next to no chance. It's down to St Kilda and Melbourne. St Kilda will have the picks and that to do it. Melbourne have the leverage of Stephen King used to coach Sam Flanders at Gold Coast temporarily when he was interim coach and assistant and all that. But, I mean, that might help, but I don't think that's what will get it over the line. If Christian Petrarca was to go to Gold Coast, then Sam Flanders would probably join Melbourne in that case. Christian Petrarca could go to the Crows, and that could help the Saints. So, a lot to play here. If Petrarca stays, Flanders may not be able to come in. So maybe I want Petrarca to stay. Who knows? Wait to see what Sam Flanders says first. What we can say with confidence that he wants to leave the Gold Coast Suns. Now, I broke an exclusive last week for you all that Charlie Curnow, the Gold Coast Suns, are going all in on Charlie Curnow, and they're willing to throw Bailey Humphrey in the deal to get Charlie Curnow over the line. They want experienced players. Damien Hardwick said it last night. They're after Jamie Elliott. They're after Charlie Curnow. I'm not saying they're going to get Charlie Curnow. I'm not saying that Bailey Humphrey will join Carlton, but Gold Coast are willing to put Bailey Humphrey in the deal to acquire Charlie Curnow from Carlton to the Gold Coast Suns and leapfrog Geelong and Sydney. Not saying it's going to happen, but Gold Coast are all in on Charlie Curnow. I can exclusively reveal that to you all, and that Bailey Humphrey is being talked about as someone that Gold Coast will be willing to offer to get Charlie Curnow across the line. They've got a lot of half forwards, Gold Coast, that can play mid. Bailey Humphrey's a good player, but he is replaceable. And if they lose Sam Flanders, they'll have more bargaining power to give to Carlton to try and get Charlie Curnow across. So they might just have to let him go. You know? They just got to let him go. Sam Flanders. They want to get Charlie Curnow. They have to go all in. But we'll have to wait and see there. And two more to finish with. Jack Steele, the Saints skipper, is going nowhere. Actually, three more. Jai Simpkin, the Roos captain, apparently on $1 million with 4 years to go. No one in their right mind would acquire Jai Simpkin on a 4-year, $1 million deal. The only way that would happen is if North pay some of the salary. That's the only way that would happen. So, for example, if, say, Sydney wanted Jai Simpkin, he wants guaranteed midfield minutes too, so I don't see that happening at most clubs. Guaranteed, that is. He'll play mid elsewhere, not guaranteed to play 100% game time there. But let's just say Sydney wanted him. They're not going to pay $1 million. They might say to North, look, okay, we'll give you a good pick, but we're only paying $600. You have to pay the rest. That's the way I see it happening if he was to leave. Jack Steele is going absolutely nowhere. Not going to West Coast, not going anywhere at all. And Royal Marshall, this chat to Geelong, I really hope it doesn't happen. Ro, please don't go to Geelong. Please. I'll still respect you if you go there, but please, Ro, don't go there. And Geelong have no leverage. They think they got leverage. They don't have shit. We've got the bargaining power here. He's contracted pick 15 or whatever, which will end up being about pick 22, is nowhere near enough. Cough up, Geelong. You got a bunch of salary cap the year over. You're getting protected with your players. Chris Scott abuses legally blind people. Bailey Smith gives people the finger among a whole range of other things he's done. Tom Stewart's a dirty sniper who snipes players. Dane Stewart gets protected. We've had previous players like Selwood that got protected. Chris Scott can get away with everything, it seems. Gets nothing. Yet Craig McRae and Ken Inkley get fined for doing absolutely nothing last year. Yet Chris Scott can abuse an AFL staff worker and a legally blind man for the presence of a legally blind man. Bullshit. Geelong are the most protected club in the world, not just this league, but the world. Maybe Man City are another one with all their breaches. They apparently had over 160 or something, and apparently it's been all swept under the rug at Man City. Now, that's a trade update. My final thoughts are simply this. You want me on Cameo, head to cameo.com/CooperG. You want me to roast a friend, wish somebody happy birthday, anything at all, cameo.com/CooperG. And if you want to see any AFL, AFLW plays, any up-and-coming draftees, or any state league plays on the podcast for a Goal King challenge and or interview, please do send me a message. We'll try and get something sorted. Thank you for watching this week's episode of Kick It to Scoops. Come on, the Lions, get the W. And Sam Flanders, please choose the Saints. Go Saints. Go Lions, too.